It was a really brave, bold, risky thing to try to implement. In the wake of that game was the first time all season we started to hear even any discussion about, is, Geraerts on the hot seat? What does the future look like after him? And I hadn't heard any of that kind of conversation prior to that Magdeburg defeat. So that kind of shows you where things are. People starting to, entertain at least the idea of a second managerial change this season, but how a week changes things. And you're hosting league leader St. Pauli. We're going to talk about the lineups in a second, but Richard, when we made this hire with this manager, one of the things he said kind of in his introductory press conference or his sort of initial statements was like, sure, I have a preferred shape or play style that I'm going to try to implement, but I'm not rigid and I'm open to trying different things. And I think probably some people were beginning to question whether or not that was really the case, but man, did he really, show that was truly, the case with this lineup and this team selection against the league leaders. It was a really brave, bold, risky thing to try to implement, and it was a great approach, and I think it caught them completely off guard and got us a really important and unexpected result.
Yeah, and one of the questions we heard leading up to this match was that, Karel Geraerts, are you going to resign? He's like, no, I'm not resigning. Like, no, I'm not quitting on this team. And we did see some changes. You talked about the bad performance. It was utterly poor performance all the way around in that game against Magdeburg. Baumgartel, Kaminski, Brunner, Cherlonov, Idrisi, all poor in that game. And as a result, all five would be dropped from the starting 11. In our Discord channel, grumblings were that Schallenberg was going to be starting in the defense. We're like, whoa, what are you talking about? You're talking crazy here. I don't see anything official yet. But starting 11 would come out, and what we heard right away off the bat, even just like a minute before the lineup came out, was that you would have Merkin, Taroda, Lasma, Kabadai, and Sopi all in the starting 11. So you knew something was going to be different into the starting 11. And then it was presented to us. Yeah, a different starting 11 to say the least. Mueller back in goal, never a question in my mind. Back four of Merkin on the left, which you would think he'd be in the middle. Schallenberg for sure in the middle, with Kalash, who's been really good as of lately. Brandon Sopi inserted as well. How would he do? He was okay in the Magdeburg appearance. You had in the holding midfield role, Seguin, not Schallenberg. Kabadai on the right, Oyan on the left, Karaman in the central of the defense with Taroda and Lasma. Interesting lineup to say the least. I think we've been flirting with this idea of adding more pace. How are we going to find it? We mentioned even Cherlonov in the past, but it looks like Kabadai and Lasma on the right-hand side with Oyan on the left with Merkin. Seemed to be what Geraerts is going to go for in this game. Jack, thoughts when the lineup came out? This drastic, 4-1-2-1-2 formation that Geraerts came out with.
Yeah, once again, just super brave to try to. This is a completely different kind of lineup in terms of the players that are on the pitch together. For the most part, it's a new shape, the 4-1-2-1-2, as you said, kind of a diamond shape. You have Schallenberg being put in the heart of central defense. You have Brandon Sopi starting at right back, a player who a couple weeks ago, once again, there were conversations about, people were laughing at his performance, when he was getting up to speed. So, to put him straight in there once again against the league leaders is a big call. You've gone with like an Oyan Merkin stack, which is something we haven't seen a ton of, but it's interesting to kind of push Oyan a little bit more forward, take some of the defensive responsibilities off him, and try to maximize what he does best. Yeah. You still maintain Seguin sort of in the base of things, probably one of your more comfortable players on the ball who can hopefully distribute. I don't think he was great in this game in general, but I understand why you would select him in that role. You keep Karaman central, which is probably where you want him more often than not. Big call to put Kabadai right back in there. Somebody has a lot of run recently. I know he had some injury stuff going on as well, but that's a big call. And then finally, we get a little Lasma from the beginning in partnership with Tirada. So, a little both in terms of, the pace and the not pace, the different parts of the game. I really thought it was interesting. It was, like I said, once again, brave, and credit to him for pulling it off. It was really impressive stuff with his back against the wall.
Yeah, shout out to Eric in the chat. He's the guy who actually broke it into our Discord about the Schallenberg defense. We're like, what the hell are you talking about, Eric? There's no chance he's doing it, but he was right. Andreas Ernst broke the news on Twitter. And so, yeah, the starting 11 was It was a gutsy call by Geraerts, no doubt about it. Considering going against the best team in the league, a team that only lost one time this season, it was a gutsy call by Geraerts and a gutsy performance by this team. The performance that they had in this game.